Dear viewers, we had to go on a short break. Thank you for staying with us. On the other end, if you have just joined us, a very big welcome. The topic for discussion this evening is a people's vote. As you know, 2 years ago we had a referendum and people have voted to leave Europe. Well, so far we've had no deal. And the reason why people are asking for a second referendum so that people can decide whether to leave Europe or to stay with Europe. If people are to stay with Europe, they need to reactivate the Article 50, and the only way that can be done is if people have a second referendum, and in that referendum people have that choice whereby they can decide to stay with Europe or to leave Europe. So ladies and gentlemen, we have a number of guests in our studio tonight who are experts in the field, who are working in the People's Vote campaign. Just before we went on break, we had one of our guests, Mr. Khalisuddin Ahmed, who's now been replaced again by our former guest, Spencer Wood. So Spencer, a very big welcome again. Thank you for joining us again.
Pleasure.
Before I come and ask you the next question, I am going to show our viewers a leaflet that you've put together, which is March to Demand a People's Vote. So ladies and gentlemen, if you can see this, as you can see that they are having a rally on the 20th of October. On the 20th of October, starting at 12 o'clock in Park Lane and then marching down to Parliament Square. At 2 o'clock there will be speeches there. People will put their side of the case as to why there should be a second referendum. So if you are able to attend, please come along and join them. Thank you. Spencer, as I said to you at the beginning of the program, as I introduced you, that you are the secretary of the European movement.
Yeah, City and East Branch.
Yeah, in City East Branch. Okay. Now, back in June 2018, as I understand, you had a rally.
Yep.
And there was more than 100,000 people from all walks of life have marched onto the Parliament to demand that their democratic voice is heard. Has anything happened since then?
Yes.
And
what's happening now is you're having more and more politicians coming out supporting a people's vote.
right.
We've had Justin Greeding, the ex-education minister, supporting it. You've had Amber Rudd, the last Home Secretary, saying if it's going to be a no deal, we need to have a people's vote. And we've had Tony Blair, we've had John Major, and various other ones. So each day it's being talked about more and more and more in the media.
So the support is getting bigger and stronger, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
So what are you hoping to achieve from this march that is going to take place on the 20th of October, where you've said that this time it will be led by young people whose voices were ignored 2 years ago, and that it will make political leaders sit up and take notes. What makes you believe that will happen?
Well, we'll just take the issue of young people for 1 second. Now, people who were 16 and 17 in 2016, they're going to be over the age of 18 now if Brexit happens, and they had absolutely no say whatsoever in their future. And the support in that group is about 80% pro-Remain. Now, you asked the question about if what we hope to achieve with this march is that it puts even greater political pressure on the politicians, so they know they cannot ignore us. And then we build momentum behind a people's vote.
But if the politicians were to listen, they could listen to the people now and do something about it. As it happens, the government, as I understand, is in a mess, total mess to say the least. They cannot decide a way forward, and really the only way to do it is to ensure that people's voices are taken on board.
Yeah, yes, completely. So also what's going alongside with this march is there's a petition. So on this petition, this is going to, after when the withdrawal agreement comes back and just before it's voted on in Parliament, this is going to be presented at number 10. So this shows that this amount of people actually support a people's vote.
Okay, thank you for that. I'll come back to you. Let me just go to, let's go to Alabai. Alabai, I mean, we talked about the impact it will have if we were to leave Europe. In terms of locally, what do you think will happen to Canary Wharf, the City of London, and perhaps all over the country if we were to come out of Europe?
আমি বাংলায় বলি এখানে 41,000 ইউরোপিয়ান নাগরিক আছে এদের অবস্থা কী হবে আমরা জানি না এখানে প্রায় 120,000 লোক চাকরি করে ক্যানারি ওয়ার্ফে এবং এই কোম্পানিগুলো কিন্তু কানেক্টেড উইথ আদার ইউরোপিয়ান নেশনের সাথে এখানে রয়েছে আপনার ইউরোপ থেকে আমরা সোশ্যাল ফান্ড এবং ইউরোপিয়ান রিজিনাল ফান্ডের মাধ্যমে 2.6 মিলিয়ন বর্তমানে পাই এখানে টাওয়ার আমলেটে আসে টাকাগুলো তারপরে আপনার হয়েছে কি যেটা হলো যে সিটি অফ লন্ডন তথা সমগ্র ফাইন্যান্সিয়াল যে সেক্টর যেটা কিন্তু ইন্টারকানেক্টেড উইথ ইউরোপিয়ান কান্ট্রিজ অ্যান্ড ইনস্টিটিউশন যখন ব্রেক্সিট হবে উইদাউট এনি ডিল এইগুলি কিন্তু এফেক্টেড হবে অনেক লোকের চাকরি চলে যাবে অনেক লোক অসহায় মানে বিভিন্নভাবে লোক বিধ্বস্ত হবে তো এখানে ব্যাপারটা হলো কি টাওয়ার আমলেটে আপনার মনে করেন 300টা কোম্পানি আছে এক একটা কোম্পানির লেস দেন 250 লোক এখানে চাকরি করে হ্যাঁ এবং এদের কী অবস্থা হবে কারণ এই কোম্পানিগুলো কিন্তু আবার কানেক্টেড উইথ বিভিন্ন ইউরোপিয়ান দেশের সাথে সংগঠনের সাথে তারপরে যেটা হলো কি বড় বড় কোম্পানি যেগুলো BMW তারপরে ইজিজেট এই কোম্পানিগুলি কিন্তু এখান থেকে উঠে যাচ্ছে তো কারণটা হলো কি যে না এখানে তো এটা মানে G7 আমরা যখন ছিলাম আমরা যখন সবচেয়ে টপ পারফরমেন্স ইকোনমি এখন নিচে চলে আসছি একবারে নিচে চলে আসছি সো G7 7টা দেশের ভিতরে ব্রিটেন ছিল সবার উপরেই ছিল এখন ব্রিটেন চলে আসছে সবার নিচে
এটা কারণটা কি
কারণটা ইটস এ ফিয়ার একটা উদাহরণ আপনাকে দেই রেফারেন্ডামের ডে অফ দি রেফারেন্ডাম ওই যারা যেখান থেকে রিমিটেন্স দেশে পাঠায় টাকা ছিল 121 টাকা এগেইনস্ট এ পাউন্ড রেফারেন্ডামের পরেই একটা চলে আসছে 111 টাকা হ্যাঁ তো বাঙালি যারা আমাদের ভোট দিয়েছেন তারা তখন রিয়েলাইজ করছেন যে আমরা কী করলাম এটা ওকে সো ইকোনমি এই জন্য যে একটা আপনার এখানে যে ওই একটা স্থিতিশীলতার অভাব রয়েছে যে কালকে কী হবে আজকে কী হবে মানে কেউ কিছু জানে না কী হবে কালকে যার জন্য যেখানে ইনভেস্টমেন্ট আসছে না এবং যাদের ইনভেস্টমেন্ট এখানে আসে এটা তারা সিকিউর মার্কেট চাচ্ছে এবং শর্টলি আফটার রেফারেন্ডাম এবং আপনার হয়তো মনে আছে এই সান্ডারল্যান্ডে প্রাইম মিনিস্টার নিজে সেখানে গিয়েছেন ওই যেটা জাপানি যে কার ম্যানুফ্যাকচারিং যে প্ল্যান্টটা অটোমোবাইল কোম্পানি কি একটা রাস্তা এগুলি দিয়ে তাদেরকে একটু সুযোগ করিয়ে দেওয়া হয়েছে টাকার জন্য সো শর্ট আর্গুমেন্ট যেটা যদি ব্রেক্সিট এখানে হয় সারা দেশ তো সেখানে বিধ্বস্ত হবে মানে ইকোনমি খারাপ হবে ইকোনমিটা ছোট্ট হয়ে আসবে এনএইচএস কথা আমরা বলছি এনএইচএস কথা কিন্তু শুধু এনএইচএস না বিভিন্ন আদার সেক্টর এই সায়েন্টিস্ট
আমরা যদি ইউরোপ থেকে আমরা বাইরে আসি কমনওয়েলথের যে দেশগুলো আছে তারা তো সুযোগ পাবে গ্রেট ব্রিটেনের সাথে ব্যবসা করার বা অন্য অপরচুনিটিস ওপেন হওয়ার
এটাই তো টেরিজা মে সাউথ আফ্রিকাতে গিয়েছে নাইজেরিয়া গিয়েছে চায়নায় গিয়েছে ইন্ডিয়ায় গিয়েছে কিন্তু কোথায় গিয়ে বাপ জমাতে পারেনি মানে সেই মার্কেটে সেই যে লোকাল মার্কেটের বা লোকাল গভর্নমেন্টের সেখানকার গভর্নমেন্টের যে দাবি দেওয়া সেটা সে মানতে পারেনি উদাহরণস্বরূপ ইন্ডিয়াতে যখন গিয়েছে ইন্ডিয়ান অথরিটি বলছে তোমরা যদি এখানে আমাদের লোককে ওই রিল্যাক্স করো ভিসা দিতে দেন উই আর হ্যাপি টু ডু বিজনেস উইথ ইউ চায়নাতে গিয়েছে চায়নারা বলছে যে চাইনিজরা বলছে হ্যাঁ বিজনেস তোমাদের সাথে করবো কিন্তু আফটার উই ডুইং বিজনেস উইথ ইউরোপ কিন্তু কেউ চায় না এত বড় মার্কেট বাদ দিয়ে আমাদের সাথে বিজনেস করবে সো সরি
কমনওয়েলথের যে দেশগুলো আছে তারা ইউরোপ রেখে গ্রেট ব্রিটেনের সাথে ওরা ডাইরেক্টলি ব্যবসা করতে পারবে না
তাদের একটা ক্ষতি আছে সেখানে এফেক্টেড আছে তারা হ্যাঁ দেখবে মানে যে কমনওয়েলথের দেশগুলি তারা আছে 27 কান্ট্রি
থ্যাংক ইউ আলাভাই খুব সুন্দর করে আমাদেরকে বোঝানোর জন্য এখন আমি চলে যাচ্ছি আবার ডেভির কাছে সো ডেভি আই এম কামিং ব্যাক টু ইউ
ওকে
There's a powerful statement where it says the People's Vote March for the Future will be the most important protest of our generation. We have teamed up with the independent final say campaign to make sure this protest is so loud and so big that no one can ignore it. So basically what you are, what do you mean by that? Could you just explain for the benefit of viewers?
So basically, like an election, you keep coming round and round again. The actual decision to leave the EU is going to have impacts well beyond like the time frame even of 5 years or 10 years. It will have impacts for the rest of your life. Like for instance, it's going to affect our opportunities and everything about the future of this country. And so it is the decision of a generation, really. And I read something today that said the Brexit will carry on being the dominant issue in this country for many years to come. Because look at it, it's absolutely stagnating everything. We've got to address things like new technology, like all the things that we need to address in this country we're ignoring because of Brexit. And the complications of Brexit will tie up the government and tie up this country for years and years to come. To try to get back to
the
what we were
legal
previously.
framework will change as well.
The legal
won't it?
framework, we have to recreate, either take on board the laws that they had or create a whole new set of laws. So everything to be, what are we going to achieve? What freedom, what control are we going to achieve if we're so obsessed by trying to recreate something we had already that was perfect?
Yeah.
Or not perfect, but that was functioning. Europe was functioning. We could have tried to change Europe. The referendum should have been a wake-up call, and the result we should have said, okay, fine, let's try to sort it out. But instead of that, we're just saying, okay, let's go like this, one direction, without even thinking about the implications. The implications are so serious. Why are we walking off a cliff? And that is so many cartoons you have of people walking off a cliff or driving off a cliff.
Yeah.
And that is how it is, and nobody can think of positives about Brexit anymore.
Do you think the government is capable of thinking positive?
Well, a government should be offering vision to people. That's what a government does. It's offering security.
And do you
vision,
feel
hope.
that's what's happening at the moment?
No.
Is the current government offering us a vision, a way forward?
No, they're fighting, aren't they?
No, I mean,
They're trying
the
to
government
survive.
is
There's so much
consumed.
infight, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The government is consumed by Brexit at the moment. We've only got the withdrawal at the moment, and then we've got to, if we get the withdrawal agreement, then we've got to go and get a free trade agreement. And if you look at the various agreements the EU have made, just take the EU-Ukraine agreement. It's taken 7 years, and so once we got if we do come out, we then got to deal with the free trade agreement. And do we want the government to be consumed by this issue for the next decade, or would we rather put this back and deal with our real problems finally?
Okay.
Yeah.
But do you think they could do, if we were to have a second referendum and we decided to remain with Europe,
Yeah.
do you think, is there anything that the government can do to perhaps fine-tune the terms and conditions and the trading and everything else that exist at this present moment, which perhaps wasn't thought through thoroughly at the time when we went in?
Yeah, perhaps, but we've got to be in there in order to change it.
Right.
And
And the only way to be in there is to ensure that we have a second referendum.
yeah, well,
Is that what
the
you're
only
saying?
way to change things in European Union would it be remaining a continuing member of the European Union.
Do you think that is the case, Spencer? Or
Well,
what do you
yes.
think?
You made a point basically about wanting to remain in the European Union. What we should be, and like trying to and fixing it. What we should be trying to do is, for instance, David Cameron in his negotiation before the referendum to try and win or remain votes, and the first time he was talking about emergency handbrakes for immigration. Now the EU said you could have that up for 7 years. So if your public services are under pressure, you can have emergency handbrakes so you can stop EU immigration. Obviously, because that vote was lost, that never happened, but that's something we could probably try to negotiate again with the EU partners. So if people felt that the local services were really suffering because of immigration, that the EU was actually willing to allow for some of that to stop. So that's just one example.
So there are various
of
options that
yeah.
can be
Yeah.
renegotiated. And you think that is possible, do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's only possible once they resolve the the border issue between island of islands and Northern Ireland and Ireland, and I think that's a very critical, situation there, and that I think will take
Border control?
It's not border control. I think there is this international agreement that Friday agreement should survive.
The
And
Good
Friday
Friday
agreement
Agreement,
is
yeah.
It is Friday
actual-
agreement, is
Yeah.
it? Right.
Yeah.
Okay, look, in terms of, I mean, this referendum took place 2 years ago. Do any of you know, and I'll put this as an open question, how much it has cost Great Britain so far?
Well, it's 500 million a week so far. Our economy is about 2.5% smaller than it should have been if we never had a vote.
So it was a mistake that the Tory government had made at the time by having it in their manifesto,
Yeah.
that they wanted to have people's opinion. By doing so, they've really shot themselves in the foot.
Yeah.
And they've crippled the economy.
Yeah.
500 million per week, is it?
It's 500 million a week. Now, they made a promise during the Leave campaign that we'll save 350 million and give it to the NHS.
NHS. Where is the money?
Where's the money? It's actually costing us 500 million and we haven't even left yet.
I mean,
What about all that extra cash that they promised they would inject into the NHS? Has that happened?
No.
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 In fact, they've come out today, they secretly tried to sneak it out today, because they've miscalculated the pensions in the NHS. They're going to have to cut the NHS budget by 2.7 billion. So there is no extra money for the NHS.
Thank you. What do you think, Debbie?
What do I think?
Yeah.
What about
Oh, about how much it's costing
how
us.
much it costs?
Yes,
I mean,
and
the cost is not just financial as well. The cost is also the opportunities that are going to be lost as
Sure.
well.
sure.
And also, my personal, I often campaign on this idea, is that if Britain leaves Europe, it's the first country out, and there are forces growing in Europe, right-wing forces and very dangerous forces. And if we destabilise Europe, which has actually been a force for peace in the world and a very strong bloc for peace, if we destabilise and other countries then start to follow this dream of Brexit, which is not actually really a dream, it's very dangerous for the world.
For the world, right.
So
okay.
it's not
So
just
what would
about
your
Britain.
final message be? Because we are almost coming to
A
the end
final
of our
message would
program.
be is basically Brexit hasn't happened. It doesn't look like it is going to happen, and
There are still times that people
there's
can...
still time to stop. It's not a done deal. We can stop this, and it's not anti-democratic to want to stop it, because it's anti-democratic to try to want to save yourself.
Thank you, Debbie. Dominic,
yes.
what would your final message be?
Come to the people's vote. I mean, we've run out of time, and
And that's the only way to bring about changes?
yeah. Let's get this. This.
Yeah.
Well, at
Yes,
least we can
issue
try
to
to bring
a head.
about changes, right.
Yeah, and let's concentrate on our real issues. Otherwise, we're going to be stagnating for a long time.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you. Alabai, what would your final message be?
We have to come out of this predicament. This is a disaster. It's a mess, and the longer we keep this mess, our economy is going to suffer, our community is going to suffer, and therefore Brexit has to be stopped.
Can you say something in Bengali for our Bengali viewers? just in case?
মানে আমরা যে অবস্থানে বর্তমানে আমাদের যে অবস্থানে ব্রেক্সিটের কেন্দ্র করে যদি এটা কন্টিনিউ চলতে থাকে, আমাদের ইকোনমি আরও খারাপ হবে এবং এখানে মানে লোকজন চাকরি হারাবে এবং ওভারঅল যেটা পুরো দেশটা দুর্বল হয়ে পড়বে। আমরা G7 ছিলাম সবচেয়ে উপরে, এখন নিচে চলে আসছি।
Thank you. And Spencer, your
Yeah,
final
well, I'd like to
message?
follow up on what Dominic said. It's like, please get involved. This is everybody's future here. You can write to your MP, you can sign the petition, and please come to the march.
Anything else?
Well, just lobby, like if you belong to a political party, lobby inside your political party.
So, if people that are watching our program wants to their MP to take this up on their behalf, what can they do?
Well, let's start talking to the MP, saying, look, I'm really concerned about the direction of the country. Could you please think again, please support a people's vote, and just put pressure on the MPs, because they're all running scared.
So
at the
they
moment.
should be lobbying their MP,
Yeah,
asking them to take this up on their behalf and
Yeah.
put pressure on the government.
yeah.
Okay. Right. Anybody else have any other ideas?
No, I think no. I think
And talking about it. I mean, if you got to talk to everyone about it, because a lot of people, we knock on doors and people don't even seem to be engaged in what's happening to this country, and it's really shocking.
Thank you. Alabai, anything further to add?
No, I think what I have said earlier, I just want to repeat that race also has a racist agenda, and that is they do
And
not
people
want
need
any.
to think about
100%.
everything. As Debbie have said, the far right-wing movement
Yeah.
has become very strong. Well, Shomanito Dorshok, ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of our program. We hope that you've enjoyed it and that you have got the message that a march is taking place on the 20th of October, starting at 12 o'clock in Park Lane, walking or marching down to Parliament Square at 2 o'clock, where speeches will take place. And you are all requested to come along, join the rally, make it a bigger and a stronger one, so that the government does seriously takes your views on board and does something about it. With that, we've come to the end of our program. We hope you've enjoyed it, and we will see you again in 2 weeks' time. In the meantime, my sincere thanks to the viewers and to our panel members for coming along. Thank you so much. Until next time, please keep well. May God bless you. Assalamu alaikum and a very good evening. Thank you.